Mike, I wanted to mention that once we're getting reimbursed, it used to be based, if I'm not mistaken, in the past on the kind of
Net
manufacturer retail
proceeds.
price, right?
Yeah,
Now it's based on the invoice cost of the unit, right? So could you
yeah,
explain to us, please, what it means now? And it's quite a big
sure.
hit, if I understand
It
correctly.
is a huge change. So this change took effect April 1st of 2025. And
Yeah.
the way Amazon used to calculate their reimbursements was the selling price of the goods minus any of the fees you would have paid Amazon for selling it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
effectively, they would give you your net proceeds, the
Mm-hmm.
cost
Yeah.
of your
Yeah.
goods
Mm-hmm.
plus the profit you would have made
Yeah.
had you sold that product on Amazon.
Good times.
Um, which was almost better for sellers
Yes.
because they didn't have to advertise that product, you
Yes.
know? So it was like it almost worked out in their advantage to say, all right,
Kind of.
I
Yeah.
shipped you this product, you lost it, give me the full profit I would have made. And I
Kind of
didn't have to
fair.
spend a dime, on ads.
Yes.
So anyway, so those days are over, unfortunately. What Amazon uses now is what they call the source cost. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not even cost of goods. They picked their words very carefully. The
Ooh.
source cost, as they define it, is the per unit price that you pay your supplier for that good. So it does not include the shipping, it doesn't include
Yeah.
advertising, it doesn't include, getting the goods to Amazon. If you buy that widget from your supplier for $10, Amazon will give you $10 back for it. And how do they know what you pay your supplier? Well, they don't. They make an estimate on what they think that product should cost. And then they tell you what they think it should cost. And it's now on you to prove them wrong and change that if you're actually paying $11 for that item.
Mm.
So this is a way that Amazon has really added one more hoop that you have to jump through. It has significantly reduced the value of the reimbursements that they give. We have seen an across the board drop of about 40 to 60% in the reimbursement value. So what that means is you're no longer getting back, the profit you would have made on it. You're no longer getting back all the cost of shipping it in and marketing it. It is now just what you paid your supplier, if you're lucky, and that's it. So
Wow.
this has created a new, kind of recurring process that sellers have to go through to monitor what the source cost of each of their items is, as determined by Amazon, and then uh, file a new type of claim. Basically, with Amazon, you have to submit documentation to Amazon to say, here's my invoice from my supplier where I
Interesting.
pay more than what you say.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Amazon will review that, and then they make a determination as to whether they want to agree with you or not. You might
Wow.
say, hey, I'm paying $11 a unit, here's the proof. And they'll come back and say, nope, we just simply don't agree. We'll put it at 10.50 or we'll keep it at $10. That is
Wow.
another fight that you have to have with Amazon now. And that's even before they've lost or damaged that goods. So you have to do a lot of work just in the anticipation that later on they will potentially lose or damage that product.
Is this something that seller investigators can help with also with this part, or this is on us for each unit, or how, what do you think?
Yeah, it's still very new, this whole concept of
Mm-hmm.
the source cost, and Amazon hasn't added that into their API yet. So
Interesting.
unfortunately, we don't have a way of scaling that type of work for us to do that. It is 100% on our product roadmap to add that into our service mix if or when that data can become available through the API. So right now, what we recommend to sellers is you can go into that source cost page in Seller Central. There's a button in the top right called like bulk update. If you click that, it'll download an Excel sheet of all of your products what Amazon's estimated source cost is, and then you can add in your own source cost to that sheet and upload it back to Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will, if it's a small change, Amazon will just accept it. So you don't always have to provide proof. But
Interesting.
um, we've been seeing, like, if you're increasing it by like 10% or more, it usually gets kicked back by Amazon, and then you have to provide the documentation. Now, I've been talking a lot about the point of view from a reseller on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
You might be asking, like, what if I'm the manufacturer of this product? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
buying it from a wholesaler. In that case, you have a little more flexibility. Amazon is going to kind of give you the benefit of the doubt that you're building this product from raw goods, and you can submit a document that shows your cost of manufacturing that product. So obviously you have a little more flexibility there in how you determine that cost, but Amazon is still going to have the final judgment to say we agree or disagree with your cost of that goods. So that's a big topic for sellers to stay on top of, because oh, and the other thing I should mention, in Amazon's what do you want to call it, like their terms about this whole process,
Mm-hmm.
um they've reserved the right to adjust that source cost anytime they want. So you might go through this whole process,
Oh,
show them
really?
the documentation, get them to increase the cost, and a few months later, they might just simply reduce it again and say, you know, we believe by looking at other sellers that this product actually costs less to produce. So we're going to reduce your source cost again. So never ending battle with Amazon.
Yeah, man, a lot of fees were cut. Like fees as what we used to get, as you mentioned, like you used to get like the sale price of the product, and then minus the Amazon fees. So it's like would be like a whole like a sale, full price sale without PPC kind of thing. And then yeah, of course we like wouldn't get the ranking for that, etc. If as if it was sold, but we would just get the money in big chunk quickly. Sometimes like 100
Yeah.
units, say, boom, that's like yeah, it's nice. But now it's this
Yeah.
different. So it's only per this kind of manufacturing cost, and then again, as you mentioned, Amazon might determine it, might not give you the ability to claim your real price and etc. So a lot of kind of cuts to our margins even more in this sense, because
Yeah.
again, we used to get a little bit more from that. Now there's a bit less. You said it's 40-60% or something from what you're seeing, so it's quite a lot.
Yeah. And it
So
takes a lot of time.
yeah,
Time is money as well. So you invest a lot of time in finding these
it's a good point.
losses, filing the claims, going back and forth with Amazon. And that's time that you could better spend growing your business
100%.
than fighting for a few dollars lost here and there.